So I had this thought the other day when it comes to clutter, that if you really want to stop it in its tracks and not make clutter an issue in your life going forward, you have to stop it coming into your home. Once it's already in your home, it's almost too late. But first, before we jump into the video, hello, if you are new here, my name is Julie. I'm an occupational therapist, a mom of 3, and I'm always on a quest to have my home organized and decluttered because I feel like it makes my parenting so much easier and just makes me happier overall. So if that's something that interests you and you feel like you need help with decluttering your home to be the best version of yourself, as cheesy as that sounds, then make sure you keep watching. You see, you get internal clutter that is generated from within your home, and then you get external clutter. And external clutter is the reason and the gateway that we continuously have this flow of crap coming into our house all the time. I realized this as I was resetting my kitchen, where I felt like every time I walked on the floor, I would stand on, I don't know, stuff like sand and bits of leaves and things like that. And it's because it gets tracked into our home from our garage, which is right off of our kitchen. So I realized while leaf blowing the garage, yeah, laugh at me all you want, this is what my life has become, that this is the way that I can stop dirt and mud and sand being tracked into our home by stopping it before it even gets inside. And the same is true for clutter. The trick to resolving your long-term clutter debacle is not letting clutter into your home in the first place. Just like if you're on a fitness journey or you're trying to change your lifestyle, you shouldn't bring in junk food into your home because you're much more likely to eat it. It's kind of the same principle. So the question becomes, how do we even stop clutter from entering our home in the first place? Because I think it's human instinct to consume and want to hoard and keep everything, right? That's what we've inherited from our ancestors, so we're kind of going against our instinct by saying no thank you. Especially when something appears to be free or a really good deal, or we find it in a thrift store, or it's a hand-me-down, and we perceive it to be of high value, even if we don't really need it. When you know your clutter why, things become a lot easier to say no and to create boundaries around what is actually allowed into your home. So I ask myself these questions when new clutter comes into my home. Often through my children, the clutter definitely increases exponentially when you have kids that go to school. This is what I say. How much bandwidth do I have to deal with this visual clutter right now? Do I have a place for this in my home, and where would it go? Do I have something similar or the same as this already? And what is this clutter costing me to keep around? If you don't know, clutter has a cost. Most notably, time. The time it takes to get rid of everything on a surface or counter so that you can actually clean it. It costs you mental and physical energy. If you have to physically move things out of the way, mentally you have to look at it, it drains you. It takes away your peace. It costs you money because the more stuff you have, the more containers you need to buy, the more shelves or cupboards you need, maybe the bigger rooms that you need, the more storage units, and then maybe the bigger house that you need to pay for. Clutter is not just the initial thing that you have, plus it attracts more clutter. So there is a cost, an actual financial cost associated with having too much stuff in your home. It also makes it really challenging with kids to encourage them to clean up and look after their things because they find clutter very overwhelming too, and then they're much less likely to be able to put toys away or spontaneously help out because they don't even know where to start. So the classic low-lying fruit for me when it comes to clutter are things that my kids will bring in from school or the dentist. Who knew that dentists gave goodie bags? They do. Dentists, birthday parties, friends, school projects, all kinds of paper clutter. That's just, everyday life with children in school. And I really have to think about how I'm gonna manage all of this. So what I typically do is they'll come home, they will dump their stuff down, and then they'll go and do something else. They like it for the moment and they're happy to show it to me, and then they're kind of done. But they don't go and throw it out or recycle it or give it away. That's my job. So what I usually do is I put it away in the pantry. I usually leave it there for a couple of weeks. They forget about it, I would say 100% of the time, and rarely ask me for it. And then I'll donate it, recycle, do whatever needs to be done with it. I also go back to my why and realize, because I've asked myself these questions, that the clutter is not serving me. Yes, there might be a little bit of discomfort or inconvenience to dispose of it, but I know what it is costing me to keep this clutter around. I also realize that we need to stop consuming, and that consumption is intimately linked, at least for me, in raising happy and healthy children and having happy and healthy parents. Because if we're living in constant chaos, we're under this low level or maybe high level of stress all the time, and that is what we're going to take out on our kids, and I don't want to raise them that way. So if you've realized that you need to stop consuming, but you're like, yeah, I have a lot of clutter that I need to deal with and tackle, where do I even begin? I feel overwhelmed. Then listen, I have a couple of die-hard principles that I share with clients and friends and family members, and this is where you need to begin. You need to begin small, like the smallest possible thing that you can do. When we are starting a new habit, we need to have as little obstruction as possible, and making something that can be very overwhelming as small as possible is the way forward until you get more confident. One drawer, one cabinet, one shelf. Choose something very underwhelming that you feel like you can tackle. Set yourself a timer of 10 minutes or put on a podcast so that you're distracted. Don't overthink. Don't think one day, when will I use this? Or maybe I'll need this. Just do it. If you feel like you need to get rid of it, you probably do. So most people are decluttering all wrong, in my opinion. I have shared with my clients over the years that there are 4 categories that you need when it comes to decluttering: the definites, the maybes, the donates, and then trash, right? Some of those things will be easy to identify right off the bat, and go ahead and do that. If there's clearly trash, things that need to go in the garbage, throw them out. Often that's the low-hanging fruit, and that gets you started. But then I want you to think about the definites. I feel like things need to earn their place in your home, and only then do you make space for anything else. So if you have a selection of items in front of you, pick out the things that you definitely want to keep. Put them back once you've cleared the space, put them back in there. And only then can you add anything else from the maybe category, which is often the most challenging. And then the third category is to donate. So anything that is in good enough condition that you might have duplicates of, that you like haven't used in, a year, but feel like someone else maybe can benefit from it, that goes in the donates pile. If you feel like you can't let go, think of all the people out there who would really benefit from that item and really find joy in whatever you're willing to let go, and think how much you will gain when you have a nice organized space and you can actually see everything. I believe in reciprocity, I believe in karma, and when we give with an open heart, we make room to receive both physical and existential things. So don't think that you're losing money or giving things away. If you're not using it, you've lost already. So you might as well bless someone else, for lack of a better term, with whatever you are not using, and let it move on out of your life. If you commit to decluttering in this fashion, you don't overthink, you just keep it simple, for 10 to 15 minutes every day for a week, you will start to see how much stuff you can let go of and how good it feels. It feels almost as good as kind of a drug. You might find that you're really on a decluttering bandwagon and you're going all out. Great. Just keep committing 10 or 15 minutes a day. You can basically do 15 minutes of almost anything every day. Set yourself a timer, put on some good music, listen to a podcast. Just get out there and start doing it. Because the more that you procrastinate and just think about it, the worse everything is, and it doesn't help what you're trying to achieve. In this way, when you realize what you actually have in your home, you have some idea of the inventory, and you realize how much clutter is impacting your mental health, it's going to make saying no to that clutter so much easier, because you have better boundaries. You know that you don't have enough space for that, third brand of shampoo or that second red skirt. You already have one. There's just sort of things that naturally flow into each other, and it makes how you manage clutter so much easier. And then when things do come into your home, because inevitably they do, especially with kids, you can easily say no or put it into one of those categories, and it's not a big deal, and it doesn't take up all that mental energy. Life is hard enough. You don't need your stuff to grip and control you and make you miserable. If you enjoyed this video, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Make sure to check out all my other videos, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.